Okay, good morning, good afternoon, sports gaming. Talking about Dillian Whyte here in this video. And, well, once again, congratulations for winning your fight, Dillian, against Povetkin. Good performance in the end. Now you move on. Now, for as long as people have watched me on BWTM Sports, I've been an advocate for Dillian Whyte to do one thing and one thing alone. I've never been a fan of him going for this WBC title because I thought it was a lot of time being wasted. And I guess at my point is still being proven because he's still no closer to getting a shot for the World Heavyweight Championship against or Joshua or Wilder. The three big names, he hasn't had a fight against any of those guys. Okay? So there's been a lot of talking. I said from day dot that Dillian Whyte should have fought for the WBA title long time ago. Should have been done. And he hasn't even had a world title shot. Think about this. How long Dillian Whyte now been boxing? How many fights has Dillian Whyte had? And he still hasn't had a world title shot yet. Luis Ortiz has had 2 world title shots. Brazil has fought for the world title. Joe Washington's fought for the world title. Spilker's fought for the world title. Andy Ruiz has fought for the world title. You know, a lot of guys have fought for the world title, but Dillian Whyte still has not fought for a world title. Derek Chisora, he fought Klitschko for the world title. Dillian Whyte still hasn't fought for the world title. So now the talk is that Dillian Whyte is going to be traveling to America for a big fight. I remember talking to Bob Arum when he was in England for the Hearn versus Crawford fight. And I spoke to Bob, and at the time we were talking about Dillian Whyte's contract, and I said to Bob, look, what are your thoughts on Dillian Whyte? That's before Tyson Fury, remember, had signed with Bob Arum and Top Rank as a promoting. That's before then. And I said to him, what do you think of Dillian Whyte? He says, well, you know what? Dillian Whyte, he's on natural. What's he doing? Let him come to America. Let him come to America. Let him fight some good American fights, and he can be on ESPN, and he can be seen. That's what you offered to Dillian Whyte. Tyson Fury hopped out of England, went to America, and probably got that deal. Dillian Whyte has continued to fight. Tyson Fury got that world title shot, got to fight Deontay Wilder, became WBC champion. Dillian Whyte still has not fought for a world title. Managed to get himself knocked out by Alexander Povetkin. Had to go and take that rematch and beat Alexander Povetkin, made it 1-1. But I think that Povetkin fight really damaged Whyte's reputation because he was building nice, good momentum. And then to get knocked out by Povetkin, it left question marks about Dillian Whyte's durability and how good he actually is. The rematch he had, and he did a good job of the rematch. He left himself exposed at times, and a good puncher, counter puncher, with balance, because Povetkin's balance didn't look right from round 1, just like Deontay Wilder's balance didn't look good from round 1. He was skating around the ring like he was on ice. Did Povetkin really recover from the COVID? I don't know. I'm not making excuses. It is what it is. Povetkin got beat up in there. He won, so he should have been in the first fight. So Howard Shannon came in, and you could see how he started to work with Dillian and getting him shaped up. It was nice to see. Howard Shannon was assistant trainer and was with the great Emmanuel Stewart. So he's come from definitely a good lineage of boxing, you understand, and the boxing knowledge. And you could see that as soon as, you know, working with Dillian, what he wanted to try and do with Dillian. So that's a bonus and a feather in Dillian's cap to have someone like Harold Knight, an experienced trainer with a good background and have knowledge in the sport, far-reaching with world champions for the highest level. That helps, obviously. So that's a great move by Dillian Whyte there. So now he's talking about going to America now in 2021. And for me, I don't know if Dillian Whyte's missed the boat. But the last time he was in America, he fought Malcolm Tan in that fight that nobody cared about. Now he's venturing back into America. America's not really great ground for a lot of fighters. Particularly UK fighters seem to come to America and seem to lose, either lose the way to fight or the will to win, or all sorts of crazy things happen. At least he's got like a Harold Knight again in that corner to help Dillian transition the US to a big fight. But I would caution Dillian Whyte. I really would, because if you watch Dillian Whyte's career, you know, all those pay-per-view fights, back to back to back to back fights with not much breathing. He was one of the most active heavyweights, and he doesn't make fights easy for himself, Dillian Whyte. And you know, the Chisora fights, the Helenius fight, the Parker fight, the Oscar Rivas fight, and as he moved up in class, he was getting knocked down more, or knocked out by Povetkin, which had warned people beforehand about the Povetkin fight. It was red alert, it was a dangerous fight, and the fight Povetkin could well win. And he pulled out the uppercut from hell, which knocked Dillian Whyte out. Dillian Whyte since has bounced back. But here's another red alert. They have to be very careful who they select for Dillian Whyte now. If they're still having ambitions to fight for the WBC title, be very careful who they fight. I, for one, would think that's a dangerous fight. I think the Charles Martin that fought Anthony Joshua probably regrets what he did selling that title. I think he regrets it because if you look at Charles Martin since those fights, since that loss, which I think that he fell over. If you look at the resistance Charles Martin's put since that knockout defeat, it wasn't a knockout defeat. It's just basically the title was sold to Joshua. I'm not knocking Joshua here. Martin came into the arena flipping eating a pot noodle. He didn't care about the world. He just wanted to make good money, and he did. Made a good deal. Title was sold, and off he went into the sunset. Did a whole lot of crazy stuff. Went crazy, came back, and sort of settled himself in now. Some good fights. And that left hand he's got some power in that left hand. I would not like to see the left hand hitting Dillian Whyte. The thing is, Dillian Whyte's counter to that left hand is the left hook. Left hook, the right, straight right, left hook combination. Now, the fight I want to see Dillian Whyte have, and I keep on saying, Dillian Whyte's next fight has to be Trevor Bryan for the WBA Heavyweight Championship of the world. Going to build your name in America now, you should have done that before you took the Povetkin fight. Now you're going to America to build your name for what? Joshua's got the Heavyweight Championship of the world. Fury's got the Heavyweight Championship of the world. So it's one of them two guys. One of the two guys you're going to fight, or you're going to fight. But I don't think Wilder's going to run. Why is Dillian Whyte? Why is Wilder going to fight Dillian Whyte? Yeah, he's #1 contender. Why is he going to fight Whyte? Should he not go and fight for undisputed with Joshua? There's more money in it. It makes more sense. So I just don't see Dillian Whyte getting that fight. But I do see a Trevor Bryan fight. And I do think the Trevor Bryan fight is the viable fight now. So if you're going to pick yourself up and you go to America and fight for a world title. Do yourself a favor. Do yourself a favor. But all these risky fights now, that if you get yourself knocked out again, as one person said, you can say sayonara and you're rebuilding your career again. Forget that stuff. You can't keep taking punches and beating kind of fights as a heavyweight. That's going to take you out on you, and your durability is not the same. I don't think Dillian White's durability is the same at all. And it seems as he's moved up in class, he's been getting dropped, like I said. So I think Dillian White needs to fight Trevor Bright next for the heavyweight championship of the world. Win the world title, and then make a defense in, was it Portugal he is now, or wherever he is? I think it's Portugal he is. Make a defense in Portugal. If you don't want to make it in Jamaica, make it in Portugal. Then have a world title fight against, I don't know. Maybe you might want to fight Joe Joyce. Defend the title against Joe Joyce. That'd be interesting. Or have Derek Chisora, Dillian White 3, and you can call it winner takes all, and Dillian White defend his title against Derek Chisora. I'm sure the British fans would love that. Maybe Dillian White versus Daniel Dubois for the WBA Heavyweight Championship of the World. Dillian White wins the title, and Daniel Dubois can fight him. But I do think Dillian White needs to cut back and back and forth with Wilder, the back and forth Andy Ruiz. Them two guys have won world championships. Andy Ruiz, unified heavyweight champion of the world. Say what you want about fuckboy Ruiz, he has been world champion. Say what you want about Deontay Wilder, 10 defense in the WBC title. Say what you want about him. He's in the big stakes. He's with the big boys. Dillian White's laughing at them kind of guys and mocking them type of guys. Even bloody Charles Martin's been heavyweight champion of the world, and he's laughing at these guys. Really, you shouldn't be laughing at these guys and mocking these guys, and because he doesn't know how the tables will flip. So you know what? I ain't fighting you. And you said, well, I don't need to fight you. I'm going to fight for a world title again. And so him, every time he gets the opportunity to mock Ruiz or mock Wilder or mock Martin, remember, these guys are all world champions, something that, my friend, you haven't achieved yet. I said the word yet. So do the right thing, keep a low profile, go and take the fight against Trevor Bright and beat Trevor Bright, and then start shooting off of this person and that person. Because all the guys you're talking about and all the guys you're mocking are all been former world champions, and you're yet to fight for a world title yet. And it's not exactly in a position you're laughing. You got knocked out by Alexander Povetkin, an old Alexander Povetkin. Fight you were meant to win, right? So let's put things in their proper perspective. You might be laughing at Wilder lifting weights, or laughing at Ruiz being a fat boy, right? I think you need to really focus on things that really matter, which is picking the right fight now. You don't want to come to America and do what Joshua did. London Bridge falling down. You don't want that. So you need to be razor focused on who you're going to fight, why you're fighting, and what the purpose is. I mean, you might be a pay-per-view star in the UK, but nobody knows you the hell in America. And this is what I was saying back then. Back then I was saying, what the hell are you doing? Yeah, you're making some money, but nobody the hell knows you. Nobody the hell knows you. You need to be fighting in America. Or maybe even fighting Kubrat Pulev, defending your title against Kubrat Pulev. But you do need to fight somebody now that, I think Trevor Bright is that fighter. That we'll see. I would avoid the Charles Martin fight, because I think the Charles Martin fight is too dangerous, way too dangerous. When will Dillian fight? Leave Hearn. One of those things. You won't leave Hearn. I agree, says Andre. Fury would destroy Dillian, I think. The top three, we talk about those three kings: Fury, Joshua, Wilder. All those three guys have been world champions. Then Andy Ruiz, world champion. You understand? So, Joe Joyce, another guy, dangerous. I don't see Dillian beating, not now. It's a punch resistance, you know. But yeah, I think Joe Joyce is going to walk through tackle, but we'll wait and see for that. Styles make fights. Won't mind watching Dillian White versus Tackle. That's another fight I won't mind seeing. But like I said, for now, White, please get that fight against Trevor Bryant and win the fight against Trevor Bryant. You get the WBA title, then you can start talking. Then you can start running your mouth about the Three Kings. You can start running your mouth about Andy Ruiz. You can run your mouth about Luis Ortiz. Run your mouth about Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz has had 2 world title shots. Huh? So, those are my thoughts on Dillian White. You know, you don't want to be going to America and getting knocked out and then looking to rebuild your career again. Because getting knocked out in America is not good. It really isn't. Look at Joshua's career. Although he got beat by Ruiz and he's come back and won, the Americans still remember Joshua getting knocked out in America. And then him scurrying off to Saudi Arabia, wherever it was, the Middle East, to win his title back. He didn't come back and rectify the situation in America. So Americans' last image of Anthony Joshua is this big dude just looking like a bodybuilder, a Hercules, tumbling over to this fat boy. That's the image they got. This was the coming out party of Anthony Joshua, again, which I've warned everyone about. They saw another Frank Bruno. Dillian White seems to improve in England. Can they teach an old dog new tricks? It's not about, I know he's improved. Well, I know he's improving, but it's the improving, have the fights taking a toll on his body, his durability, and as he seems to move up in class, he seems to get dropped more. Oscar Rivas dropped him. Joseph Parker dropped him. Almost got knocked out by Joseph Parker. Povetkin knocked him out. So the last 3 fights, barring this one here, this recent one where Povetkin had no footing, the last 3 fights, Dillian White has been scraping himself off the canvas. We're not talking about him fighting Deontay Wilder, because if those guys can drop him, no matter what do if he connects. Oh, and he will connect. You've got Andy Ruiz. You saw what Andy Ruiz did to Anthony Joshua. Ruiz can punch. Ruiz needs to see. This is what happens when I say not everyone can train heavyweights. So Ruiz lost too much weight too quickly. That's why when Ariola hit him, he went over. Too much weight too soon. Took too much weight off of him. So it's what it is. Heavyweight are a weak division in training. So they thought, we're going to think smart. We're going to make Andy Ruiz lose all that weight, and then he'll be faster and more effective. But they forget that weight, he won the world championship at that weight. He was able to soak up punishment from Joshua at that weight. So just something for people to think about. I don't think Dillian White should be going to America for anything else but the heavyweight championship of the world. And don't knock that WBA title. It is the oldest belt. That belt is the most prestigious belt in boxing, I would say, is WBA, not the WBC. Although the WBC will be crooks, will be criminal, as they call them. WBC belt, the green and gold belt, is the one that everyone looks at and says that's the belt. But the WBA belt, if you look at its history, you can go back to the times of Muhammad Ali, who had that belt in their hand, that same belt, that same WBA belt that a lot of people are knocking. The same WBA belt that David Haye had and Povetkin once had, the same WBA belt, and Valuev had, and you can trace the back and back and back and back and back who had the heavyweight title. It goes back to Ali's days. It's a belt that a lot of people want to ignore for a super belt, which a super belt means nothing. A super belt was a created belt to just be to make more money. That's what it was. But the WBA belt has lineage, it's got a history attached to it. And that's why I always respect that belt. The way the organisation has moved hasn't done itself any favours. The Fraser Quendo situation, the Lucas Brown situation, and now Trevor Bright, the champion. Don't know when he's going to fight again. Fight is announced, and they fight in America, and White gets to fight for the heavyweight championship. Dean White, whoever is involved with Dillian White, please just get that fight with Trevor Bright, please, and then make sure you win the fight against Trevor Bright. Because getting beat by Trevor Bright, you'll get recognised in America, all right, but for all the wrong reasons. So let's make sure that when you go into America and the opponent you're fighting is not the opponent that's going to embarrass you in America, or you'd have to come back and get a rematch. That shit's not going to fly in America. You know what I mean? Now, got pasted by Povetkin. If you didn't get beat by Povetkin, it wouldn't be so bad. And if you weren't Danny, last 3 fights, it wouldn't be so bad. So there's a durability issue there. And is that because of the amount of fights that you've had back to back to back, chasing pay-per-view numbers, which is great in the UK? But now, is your body and your mind able to get you to the final hurdle, or will you be known as a kneeling man? That's the question. I'll leave it there. Thank you all for watching. This has been BWTM Sports, and we're out. Take care.